Hello, this is Mike Lively from Northern Kentucky University, and this is part 3 of our box modeling a jet. Now before we proceed, we actually want to tie up some loose ends. So there's 4 things we need to do. We need to say plus, we need to turn on face edges, we need to turn on the polygon count, and we need to talk a little bit about Alt Q or isolate. So let's start with say plus. 3DSMax crashes, and sometimes when it crashes it will destroy the version. So if you've actually spent a long time and you've created this beautiful model and you've forgotten to save plus, you may only have one version and it may be corrupted. So you may have a difficult time there. So we want to save plus. Just go File, Save As, and you see it's version 1. I've already saved plus 1, so save plus again. When you do that, let's hit Save As again to look at that. We can see we now have a second version. So just keep multiplying your versions. So if you have a horrible crash and it corrupts your last version, at least you can go back to the previous one. So remember to save often and save plus. Okay, so we got that taken care of. Next thing we need to do is turn on faced edges. We want to be able to see the edges, so just hit F4 key. So I'm hit Q real quick here and select that, and let's hit F4. And let's try that again. Okay, Control R, let's see if I can see that. And there again, we select it, we can see our faced edges now. Let's Control R. And there you can actually see the polygons that you're creating. And I want to do a polygon count. I'm building this for Paper Vision 3D, so I want the polygon count to be low. And so if I create some incredible structure and the polygon's high, it's going to slow down my calculations and it's not going to be worth it. So let's go ahead and hit 7 to turn on the polygon count. And you can see over here on the side of the screen I can see my polygon count. Let's do one more thing. Excuse me, let's get Q to get out of that. And that last thing is we want to talk about Alt Q. Alt Q is isolate any object on the stage. Just a small piece. You can select it and hit Alt Q and it'll isolate it from everything. So I don't want you to just get the idea that I can only isolate it from the reference material. I can isolate it from anything. Now that we've tied up some of the loose ends, let's continue box modeling our jet plane. Let's Control R to arc rotate around. Let's select that. And let's kind of get this where we want to. Okay, let's Alt P to pan down. Just get this into our view. Once again, Control R to get it around. Now, one of the problems I'm having, of course, is that it's not even with the plane here. Hit Q. Let's select our model. Let's go into W and bring it up even with the plane. We're ready to start actually getting it a little bit of work done there. There we go, pretty good. And let's Control R to arc rotate around. We can see the nose is extending a little too far out. Okay, so we're actually going to bring that nose in. One way to do that is just go to vertices. So hit 1 to get to vertex. I'm going to hit my marquee here, square marquee, and a marquee around the front part to select those polygons. And I'm just going to shift that back. There we go. Shorten up my nose a little bit. Good. Let's Control R a little bit and come up a little bit. And around. Now I can see that I'm not even with the plane either, so I need to pull this down a little bit. So once again, I'm going to go to vertex mode. I'm going to hit 1 to get my vertex, and I'm going to select this set of vertices right here. And you want to make sure that ignore backspacing is not turned on, so you get the vertex behind it. And I'm just going to pull that down. There you go. And let's select the next bunch and pull that down. There you go. This kind of looks funny at the front, doesn't it? Let's select the next bunch and pull that down. There you go. And select the next bunch. Actually, let's select both of them and just pull that down. There we go. Looking pretty good. And let's arc rotate around. And you could literally just spend a million years working on this, and we're going to do it as quickly as possible, but yet make sure we illustrate all the important points. So Control R a little bit. Let's make sure that tip's okay. And I'm going to Alt P just to pan over. I want to get right in on that. I'm going to Alt Z to zoom in on that part right there, and you see that is not quite right. Let's go ahead and Alt R a little bit to get it around. There we go. I'm going to hit 1 to get me back into the vertex mode, and let's marquee around this, and let's bring this down a little bit as well. There we go. Looking pretty good there. Okay, at this point we're going to do a little bit of work on the nose cone. So let's Alt Z. Let's click on that. Alt Z to zoom in. And Control P to pan over. So what I'm seeing is that it's kind of bowing out here a little bit, and I want to bring that in. So I'm going to hit 1 to hit the vertices, and I'm just going to selecting vertices. 1, Control P, control click. There you go. And I'm going to go ahead and hit R to shrink. And we're going to actually move them in the axis this way. And there we go. Control R now, kind of see what we did. A little bit better. Let's see if we can do this a little bit more on that. Hit the R key again, and on this axis right here, you're just going to move them in. Good, and I'm pretty happy with that. These two right here are sticking out a little bit, so let's once again make sure vertices are selected. Control 1. Let's hit 1, for example, and Q. Let's select one vertex, 1 to select vertices, excuse me. Click 1. Go ahead and control click the other. Let's hit the R key and make sure you're on the axis there. And I can see I'm a little bit off it, so I want to go ahead and control P to move over a little bit. Let's try that again. 1 to get back on the vertices, and now I can see I got the control handle. And let's move that in. There we go, looking a little bit better there. Control R, I want to rotate underneath, take a look at that. Okay, I'm a little happier with it. Now I could spend a lot of time working on that, but for now we're going to move on and continue working on the plane. So we have an option here. We can work on the cockpit, or we can go back to the back and work on the wings. Let's work on the wings. So Alt-Z to move back a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to Control P to get to the back of the thing. Control R to move around. And what I need to do basically is cut in another set of curves, move that back, and start pulling those wings out. There's those tail feathers out. So let's go ahead and Q. Let's select one edge. So we'll hit 2 for edges. Select an edge. So at this point I want to start working on the tail feathers. So I want to select an edge here. So make sure 2 is clicked and select an edge. And at that point we want to basically use the ring command. So that was Shift D. And now we've selected all the edges. So if I can Control R that, you can see all the different edges are selected. And now I'm going to go basically connect those. So I'll hit my connect command. And if you recall, that was Control Shift F. I'm basically slicing everything. And you can see that because if you hit 4 to get polygons, basically you can see there's a polygon on this side and a polygon on that side. I've actually split everything in half. So I'm ready to start building those tail feathers. So at this point, let's go ahead and hit Q to get off that. And I want to hit 2 for edges, so I'm in the edge mode. And I'm going to click the edge right here. Just one of these edges along. And now I'm going to hit my Control Shift D to get that ring. So if I Control R to see what I've done here, I've actually grabbed the ring around the curve here. So I'm just going to hit W, and I'm going to shift that ring down a little bit where the tail feather goes. There we go. And I'm going to come along here, and I'm going to hit 4 to get into polygon mode. Click on that. And I'm going to use my inset command, which is Control Shift A. Now, just real quick about the inset command and the connect command. These are command keys I set myself. So if you do this on your computer, it won't work unless you go up to the customize and set these commands. I'm going to inset right here. Okay, that's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the W key, and I'm going to move this back a little bit. Right. And I actually need to make that a little bit larger for that. So I'm going to hit the Q command, hit 1 for vertices, select this vertex and that vertex. Let's go ahead and hit the W command and just expand that a little bit. And now I'm ready to extrude that. So hit 4. And we're going to go ahead and extrude that up. So hit Shift E and let's extrude that tail feather up. There we go. And I'm going to Control R to make sure we're getting it right. That looks about right height. And we're going to hit R to shrink it a little bit. There we go. And we're going to hit W to move it back a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and shrink that a little bit more. Let's Control R to spin around, get a better view on that. Let's go ahead and hit the R key. And I'm going to Control P to get the pan over just a little bit so I can get that in the screen so you can see it. So let's once again hit the R key and shrink that a little bit. There we go. And Control R. Pan around a little bit more. And now let's move those wings back a little bit. Use the W key and let's move that back. There we go. Once again, we're not trying to get this perfect, not looking exactly like the particular model here. We just want to have something that looks good, and we're using this as basically a reference. One more thing, let's hit the 1 key, go to Q, and let's select these vertices right here. Let's get back on the square marquee. Okay, select those vertices, that hits W, and let's move that back to make it a little shorter, just like the plane is. Pretty good right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Then Control R and kind of pan around there. This is a little wide right here, but we're going to go with that. If I had more time, I'd shrink it a little bit, but we're going to basically try to move forward with the modeling here. Here we have 162 polygons and 147 vertices. We're doing fine. That's going to work well in Paper Vision. Next thing we need to do is cut in these side fins, and we'll do that in the next video.